Welcome to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-hosts, Vern Glenn and FP Santangelo Jr. Hopefully, Russell Jackman will join us in the next break. At each commercial break, we're going to ask a sports trivia question. And in honor of the Masters, our theme today is golf. All right, we're going to have some golf questions. And okay. I hear Mr. Russell Jackman coming on. So it'll be good. Okay, so a couple of things that I have here for the next segments. Investors are showing interest in women's pro hockey. That's kind of interesting. Iowa pauses season ticket holders for women's basketball due to their success. Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. Well, we'll see. The NBA playoffs. The NBA investigating the Mavericks for sitting players in order to get a higher draft pick. Michael Jordan preparing to sell his stake in the Hornets. And holy smokes, the Tampa Bay Rays, 10 in a row. Now, we're recording this show on Tuesday, so we'll see what happens on, for the next few days, because this will air on Saturday. And then I know you guys have a few other things. And Mr. FP is only going to join us for the next couple of weeks because he's moving onward and upward.
Yes, this is going to be one of my last shows. I think I'll have one more in me after this. But, yeah, it's been a pleasure discussing sports with you guys. It's been a lot of fun over almost a year plus now. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has. Well, the thing is, what you start at 7 a.m. Well, we'll just have to record at 5:30 a.m. Vern, you won't mind, right? We're working the late night before. I don't see a smile on Vern's face.
Vern's like, no way.
Sleep is overrated, right?
It's funny. We record on Tuesdays because Vern, that's the time that he can fit it in. I don't know. Maybe the only time we can all get together is Sunday, 2 a.m. Maybe we'll start doing that. All right. This segment of Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by Pacific Private Money. Check them out at pacificprivatemoney.com. They have some great investments that are backed by real estate. And in today's market, that's a good place to be. All right. Stay with us. Sports Econ 101 will be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown here along with FP Santangelo Jr., Vern Glenn, and Russell Jackman. So guys, in honor of the Masters, our trivia theme is golf. And FP, start us off with the Masters.
Yeah, the Masters got a bump this weekend. On Sunday, there's a 19% increase from Scottie Scheffler's win. So Jon Rahm is the winner. And it looks like they ended up with 12.1 million viewers on Sunday, which is pretty good. That's about the same as a World Series game. That was better than the NCAA tournament final. So that's really cool to see. So golf is strong right now.
He did it in come from behind fashion. He started the day 4 shots back, and he ends the day winning by 4. He played 30 holes that day because Mother Nature wreaked havoc over the weekend. So some of these third rounds had to be finished up early Sunday before the final round was played. But good for him, another Spaniard. And it happened on the birthday of his idol, Seve Ballesteros, who won the Masters in 1983.
I wonder if a lot of people tuned in to see if another tree was going to fall.
That was scary. That was scary, though. That was crazy.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Yeah, you kind of look at some of the videos and you see people, what's going on here? I mean, fortunately, those trees fall kind of slowly.
Unfortunately, you can't have a cell phone at the Masters. They take your cell phone. So maybe that saves some lives too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because people get distracted, not thinking about it. Yeah, that's a good point. Wow.
Yeah, that was crazy weather weekend, but it was really cool to see. And then the crazy news that came out about Tiger Woods, he obviously had to withdraw from the tournament because of injuries. I think it was plantar fasciitis.
That's exactly what it was. Yep.
But its reports are coming out now that a screw that's in his foot was piercing through his skin, and he was golfing with that. Isn't that nuts? What an absolute gamer! That guy's tough as nails.
That reminds me of come on, who's the bloody sock for the Red Sox?
Oh yeah,
Roger.
It's crazy.
Was that Clemens?
No.
It was
Schilling. Schilling.
Schilling, the bloody sock.
Yeah, the bloody sock. Wow. Oh man, that's pretty scary.
But it was a lot more
Phil
compelling
Mickelson finishing at 8 under, 4 shots back. I mean, he started making a charge, and it was like, he's the poster child for the Live Golf Tour. So
yeah.
For a while, all these Live golf guys were making noise. Kepler, Mickelson, and it was like, well, okay, the clash is on.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's Jon Rahm.
Yeah, Ross, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say it turned out to be a lot more compelling than the NCAA finals, which, with all the build up to it, with so many upsets and so many Cinderellas, that turned out to be the same. UConn, and it wasn't really that great of a finals matchup. So I think that was disappointing to a lot of people. So
Hey, and I have to say, so sorry to all the misogynists out there, but the women's tournament was way better than the men's. Wait, so many women.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What's really cool too is
Look at the numbers.
and to see how much better they've gotten over the years. The men have gotten better too, but the women, I think, exponentially their talent.
I thought you said like the women's Masters tournament. Sorry, I totally didn't think about the women's. Yeah, the women's NCAA tournament was a lot better ratings wise. We discussed that last week, but yeah, it was more compelling.
Speaking of women's and the Masters, I do have an interview with Rose Zhang later on today, who won the women's Augusta National tournament last week. So I'll get together with her later on today.
Very cool.
That's fantastic.
I had a cool interview with Trace Thompson yesterday, who was the brother of Klay Thompson, and Trace was saying all kinds of things about how proud he is of his brother. Can you imagine that household? You're the parents of two boys. One plays in the NBA and the other one plays for the Dodgers. Is that something?
Yeah, good genetics, huh? I wish I had something like that. FP Senior played baseball, if you don't know, and you're listening right now, but I always give him tons of fluffs over how come I didn't get any talent from you. Come on, all these juniors playing Major League Baseball, and I couldn't even hit in junior college. This is horrible.
So he blames it on your mom, right?
No, my mom was a track star.
Oh.
I blame it on him now. So this is his fault.
Wow.
Well, it's funny. My daughter got our. Well, actually, my son was pretty good too. My son had an incredible arm. I mean, it was kind of scary to see how far he could throw a baseball. But I think with his eyes, he had to have an eye operation when he was little, and so the eye coordination is a little bit different. But our daughter is. She was a really good third baseman, great arm, could hit the ball and all that. And so, you look back so my side of the family, we have strength. We're a lot stronger than we look. But my wife, though, her dad played a short time for the Pittsburgh Steelers, kind of a husky guy. And then my mother-in-law was a big time ballerina. So you get all the kind of finesse and all that kind of stuff. And so
the real funny part is my sister's the freak athlete. She just sports weren't her thing. She played soccer and she was elite. She was really good. So she got the genes. I didn't, which is really funny. And then she's like, yeah, sports aren't my thing.
But you got the brains though.
No, I don't. I got
Come on, you got talent. You got talent though. You do a good job here. That's for sure. Okay, so actually continuing on with the women's basketball. So Iowa, because they had gone up the ladder so much, they came in second, right? They're pausing the season ticket holders due to their success. So, I mean, a lot of these teams is really kind of cool. It's like they kind of come out of nowhere. Well, I don't say they come out of nowhere, but
Iowa would not come out of nowhere.
No, not yeah. I take that. I don't mean it the way it sounds.
Maybe to the misogynists out there.
No. I don't mean that. No, like San Diego State for the men's, right? It's like, suddenly there's going to be a lot more people interested in the team, both kids coming to college and season ticket holders, right? I mean, isn't that kind of a natural progression?
Mr. Brown, Steve Fisher, the former San Diego State coach, he's on line one.
Yeah.
So, the Aztecs have made noise in basketball for years.
Well, okay, but they've never made it this far, though.
That far.
Not to the Final Four.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's just kind of typical where, same thing. Listen, I remember when the 49ers were so bad, it was hard to watch them, when John Brody played for them and all that, right? I mean, they had Gene Washington was fantastic and a few other good players, but
they were good in the early 70s. They just couldn't get by the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Then they had some declining years where they just couldn't buy a win.
But suddenly, Montana and Clark and Ronnie Lott and all that stuff. And suddenly there's a whole bunch of 49er fans,
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of typical. I get it.
Well, that's the market,
Well,
everybody loves the winner.
Well, okay, so Tampa, we're going to say one more thing before we go to break. Tampa Bay, Rays. They're 10-0 as of today. And Tampa Bay is one of those teams where, if they can get 500 people to show up.
Yeah, that's another franchise that have massive attendance issues at the Trop.
And what was sad was, they were in the World Series a couple of times, and it's still hard to get people to go. I mean, I'm trying to think of Tampa Bay.
They've had a couple of good runs, especially when Evan Longoria was their star.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they've invested in some star players before. It's the attendance, it's the location. There's a lot of rumble about a new team coming to Nashville. So maybe Tampa Bay moves to Nashville. Maybe they just open an expansion team there. But the whole thing is interesting.
So
very interesting.
What are people watching? Highlight? I mean, I've actually seen highlights. Pretty exciting, but it's like what are all the fans doing? Okay, you guys ready for our first commercial break? Again, we're talking golf. We'll see how much golf you guys know. All right. Only 18 albatrosses have been achieved in major golf tournaments. What is another name for an albatross in golf? All right. That's our trivia question. Email Edward at sportsecon101.com the answer to this golf question. Only 18 albatrosses have been achieved in major golf tournaments. What is another name for an albatross? All right, stay with us. Don't touch that dial. Sports Econ 101. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown along with FP Santangelo Jr., Vern Glenn, and Russell Jackman. Our first trivia question about golf. Only 18 albatrosses have been achieved in major golf tournaments. What is another name for an albatross?
Double eagle?
Double eagle. Very good. That's right. So that's like getting a 2 on a par 5, which is basically 3 under par. A couple of times, some guys have gotten a hole in one on a par 4. That's
impressive.
Yeah.
Well, these big guys, these big strong guys, they can drive the green.
Yeah.
Sometimes, the ball will go in.
In fact, one of them, if you look online, one time what happened was a guy, there was someone on the green, and he just left his putter there because it was like, okay, well, he was looking for a shot and all that. And no one's expecting a ball to get hit from the tee, right? Well, he hit the putter and went right in.
Oh my goodness.
Ricochet, if you look that up. It's cool.
Vern, you just reminded me of a funny video I saw this morning. John Rahm, there's a video of him that kind of went viral, and he's deadlifting 300 pounds, which, if you guys know, it's really not, it's like normal human weight, right? And we're so conditioned that these elite athletes lift 500 pounds and everything, right? And he's a big dude. So you look at the comments, and he's like, he only did 300 pounds for a 4 set. He only did it 4 times, and they're roasting him. It's like, guys.
Wow.
That guy just won the Masters. Shut up. He's really good. You guys will never win the Masters.
Yeah, also, you think, I guess deadlifting would be okay. You don't want to. It depends on the actual sport and the actual person. But
it's core. It's all core and stabilization. So it's all relative. He wouldn't be doing it. He's got a trainer just for golf, so he wouldn't be doing it unless it was beneficial.
Yeah, and also, you need a lot of legs and hip for golf. I was just thinking, some guys, like for basketball, most of the guys don't really want to lift heavy weights because it totally gets you all tight and stuff like that. That's why.
Yeah, you want to be strong. You want a strong core, but you want to be flexible.
Well, and I've said this before. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, apparently he never lifted weights, but what he did was a heavy rope. And if you guys have ever done a heavy rope, that is hard.
That's tough. Oh,
but don't get hurt, but you get strong and all that fun stuff. So investors are showing interest in women's pro hockey. Interesting.
That rules.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. So. Again, hopefully, let's keep the men out of it. Let the women have their own sports and let them go.
I think there's a lot of interest there. I know when the Olympics happens, right? The women's hockey is a lot of fun to watch Team USA and Team Canada go at it. I know I would watch it a bunch during the Winter Olympics, so that's really exciting. On the other side, did you guys know professional gaming is taking a nosedive right now? So all those teams that invest, I'm sure you remember hearing tons of athletes invest into these professional gaming teams, right?
Oh, yeah, like the whole esports thing.
The whole esports scene. an
Wow.
absolute nosedive. Like Snoop Dogg is pulling out. The FaZe Clan, which is the big one, is just seeing monumental losses. Like stock market dropping like you've never seen before. Everything is just being wiped out in the esports scene. It's being seen as one of the worst investments you could have made right now.
Why?
It's
Are they saying?
Why? What's going on?
Well, it turns out that people like to watch professionals play, but they like personality a little bit more. So these guys who play all day, right, really don't really have a personality to sell with it. And it's really hard to follow your favorite gamer. Whereas on the Twitch scene and the streaming scene, and if you go on YouTube, you have the guys like Bay Area Zone Dr. Disrespect, who wears the mullet with the glasses and the fake beard, and he's like screaming and yelling at people. And he's got a personality. He does a character, right?
Yeah.
So that's where all the money is being invested into now, is kind of the celebrity, the comedians, the personalities that play these games. And the esport is just seen as a little bit too sweaty. You know, it's really hard to relate somebody that plays games 15 hours a day, right? And have a connection with them as somebody that, like, you know, we go to work, all of us go to work, right? And we want to relax. It's kind of hard to really commit time to something like that, where you're like, I just don't relate to somebody that sits down and
that's why
plays video games 18 hours a day.
That's why Buddy Sotelo had to have a personality. Isn't that right, Russ?
It helps, you know, when you're trying to, when you think about it also, I think that a lot of people look at video gaming as like something that anyone can do, as opposed to, you know, when we were just talking about guys lifting 300, 500 pounds and you know, somebody making a shot from half court, or you know, somebody hitting, you know, 3 home runs in a game. That's something that people look at and they go, okay, I admire that. You just see somebody, you know, smacking a controller around and you know, playing video games, they go, well, I could do that too. And so that
let me ask you, there was a time, you know, just a few years ago when like Staples Center was just sold out for these certain games. Is that still happening though with the tournaments?
So that's not necessarily like the professional gaming leagues. That's like one thing in particular. That's League of Legends, and that's has a huge backing by mostly South Koreans. Like South Koreans love League of Legends. The Asian community really supports that, right? Okay. And Americans really love to watch League of Legends too. So there's a few games here and there that are very, very popular, right? But again, it's just, if I'm really good at video games and I have a personality, I'm going to go to Twitch and make hundreds of millions of dollars, right? I'm going to be like Ninja, right? He was the big name for a while that got a $300 million deal with a streaming service, right? I'm not going to go join an esports team and make like pennies compared to that, right? I'm going to go do my own thing, be independent, and have people make donations to me, do the streaming service, all that. So it's just really, it's unfortunate that this happened, but it's in a death spiral right now. This might be the first professional sporting league that we see really has a death spiral. That started strong.
I'll have to ask my my son's friend, because he was really into it. I mean, he was like one of the big guys who, I don't know if he started it or whatever, but I mean his you guys ever heard of Econ?
I think so.
Yeah, it's like it was the first one where you have extra little pennies and dollars and stuff like that, and they'll invest it.
Yeah.
So he and his dad started that, and then they moved so he moved over to this thing. I mean, they had like, I don't know, a couple million investors, you know, people who deposit with them, but it built the esports. So good.
It's pretty interesting. I remember the first big investor, and I was like, really? It was Rick Fox. Do you remember Rick Fox?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
The NBA player.
Yeah.
He was the first big athlete to get into esports and actually put a substantial amount of money on a team and start develop it. And I was like, wow, this is Rick Fox. Like, that's a pretty big name. Yeah. And then everybody just started following him. And then now it's going up in flames. It's very unfortunate.
Now, did he get out?
We're about to air a story tomorrow on women gamers, and the percentage is 41% of all the gamers are women, 29% identify as women of color, and there's kind of a groundswell of momentum to kind of get more women of color playing the game, because it's the whole gaming thing before FP gave us that news is $1 billion
Yeah.
Well, Vern,
industry.
this is very important that you brought this up, and I'm glad you brought this up. They're actually taking a lot of the money in professional esports, and they're going to put it in professional women's esports because a lot of men play video games, right? But Microsoft, Blizzard, all these companies, Activision, which is Activision Blizzard, right? All these companies, Riot, they want to have more women and they want to have more women, people of color, right? So they're gonna invest more into these sports leagues to try to say, hey, you know, that person is me, like, right? And I could root for somebody, and it's okay to play video games as a woman, right? So they're gonna take all those resources that was in the male league and they're gonna put it in the female league and see what happens, which I think is great.
Here in the Bay Area, there was just a conference down in Embarcadero. It's called Women Got Game, and this was a summit, kind of a meeting, a demonstration, and chances to play games. They attracted 125 women of color from local high schools to be part of this summit. And now this weekend, the summit is going to continue in Atlanta. But the spearheading this is a woman of color who's been a gamer for over 30 years, and she just saw the need for this. And you don't have to be really a gamer; you could be a coder. She just wants more women of color involved in the industry.
Yep, that's awesome. I absolutely love that. I like to normalize things that people like to do, right? For the longest time, I even felt this in high school. I played lots of video games, and you know, there's a stigma about it, right? I played sports, but if I told people I played a certain game or I did this, they'd be like, "Oh, you're a nerd. You're this," and
Yeah.
you'd be like people would make fun of you. Now, I see kids in high school talk about playing everything, and I think it's really cool to just destigmatize
Well, it's sort of like
playing video games.
the TV show The Big Bang Theory, where it's like, suddenly being a nerd is cool. Well, guys like Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, when you have a lot of money, suddenly being a nerd wasn't such a bad thing.
Hey, if you live in the Bay Area, you'll know it's cool to be a nerd because you got a lot of money, dude.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, great, guys. You ready? Here's our next trivia question. So this one's an easy one. All right, you ready? When you hit the ball and decide to shoot the same shot again, this is referred to as what? We're talking golf.
Okay.
Right? That's an easy one. All right.
So in other words, you're on the tee.
Yep.
You hit your ball.
Yep.
And then still on the tee, you hit another one.
Exactly.
Okay.
What's that called? What's that referred to? All right. Stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. One more time. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with FP Santangelo Jr., Vern Glenn, and Russell Jackman. We're going to miss FP in a couple of weeks here. He's going to be moving onward and upward.
We'll see about that. You guys will definitely be able to talk more. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's okay. Now, you always bring a lot to the table here. Okay. So in golf, when you hit the ball and decide, I'm going to shoot it again, what do you call this?
Well, there's actually two answers to that.
Oh, really? Okay.
In professional golf, if you hit one and decide to hit another one, that's a provisional, just in case you might have lost that first one. The other answer, when it's just you and me playing, maybe charity golf, something like that, it's a mulligan.
Mulligan, that's right. Wait, I never heard of that. Provisional. It's basically still a mulligan is basically a get out of jail free card. Whereas a provisional,
they don't do any mulligans in professional golf.
Yeah.
and if you watch the Masters, John Rahm did hit a tee shot that went wide right, and while he was standing there, he hit another one, a provisional, just in case the first one wasn't found. Turns out that he did find the first one. It was in another fairway, and he hit it back. So that's what happened.
Well, wait a minute, hold on. He doesn't get to choose which one, though.
No, he hit the second one in case the first one could not be found.
But then, is there any penalty for that?
No.
Well, then I'm just going to keep doing that every time. I mean, listen, the only difference between me and being on the PGA Tour is they don't allow me a mulligan on every shot. That's all. Right?
Okay.
Actually, you guys don't. I don't know if you guys have ever played with Vern, but I've played with him, and he's pretty good.
No, I am not.
You are,
No. No, there might be some viewers out there that have played with me a bunch, and they will laugh out loud. No,
well,
no, I am
okay.
not.
I mean, let's put it this way: you're a lot better than maybe people would just assume. You know, how's that? Is that fair enough? Because I mean, I've seen you hit some shots. I mean, you hit some. Oh yeah, I mean, listen, I've hit shots, 275 yards right down the, but I don't do it all the time, and that's.
I have when it comes to golf, I have a very small tank of energy. So maybe probably after 5 holes, the stamina hits, and I'm no good to you.
I'm the same way. It's like me after 9 holes. It's like I just can't do this 18.
Yeah.
Imagine these guys.
After 9 holes, I'm ready to go to the 19th hole.
Yeah. And can you imagine? I mean, it's these guys have to do it 4 in a row, right? Yeah, 4
and walk the course.
And walk the course. Now the thing is, they do have a caddy, so that kind of helps a little bit, but still, that's still a lot. Let's see here. What do I have here else? Michael Jordan is preparing to sell his stake in the Hornets.
Yeah, I wonder what's that worth to him. I don't have the numbers in front of him. But I wonder what he stands to gain by selling his shares, his ownership shares of the team.
Gain or loss? I don't know. I'm not sure if he's going to make a profit on it, and I don't know how much you
think
in.
So. I think
all depends on how long ago.
Gone up in value,
possibly.
It's really interesting when you have such an elite athlete that cares so much about competition, always come in and really, I won't say, I guess, fail, right? That's you kind of failed. You didn't do well. They didn't win a championship. They didn't really even go to the playoffs. So, and a lot of people are seeing something similar with LeBron's ownership group, right? As soon as he started to have a stake in the Red Sox, I think it's Manchester United, those teams started to not do too well too. And everyone's like, I don't want LeBron to own my team. So it's like you have these phenomenal athletes that come in, you think they know something about winning, but I think being an athlete and being a businessman is completely different.
Yeah. Well,
right? At least being an owner. So
yeah. Well, look at Jerry West. That guy, he couldn't win being a coach. I mean, player, fantastic, but managing or coaching people, or in this case, owning a team with, Michael Jordan. I guess, I don't know how much input he had in coaching. What do you think? Did you think he just kind of stepped back and just was an owner?
I'm not really too sure. Maybe he wasn't as hands-on that we believe, right? I know for like one example is Barry Bonds was a coach for the Miami Marlins for a while, right? And he helped out a lot of guys down there, but he was kind of on his own program from what I heard. Like he would show up when he wanted to because he's Barry Bonds. I'm sure Michael Jordan was the same thing. I'm sure Michael Jordan was more worried about, his Jordan brand. I think he's probably way more worried about building golf courses, things like that, right? He probably wasn't too worried about the Charlotte Hornets at the end of the day, as much as he'd probably tell you, but maybe that's what kind of happened.
Can you imagine how intimidating it would be being a player under Michael Jordan?
Michael Jordan.
Yeah, it would be crazy.
Dollars to buy the Charlotte Hornets.
How much did he buy?
I think your mic went out again, Vern.
Did it go out again?
Just a little bit. How much did he buy it for?
This is important.
Okay, he's gonna come back in. So what the other part is going to put here is the NBA is investigating the Mavericks for sitting out players in order to get a higher draft pick. Part of me says, okay, as a fan, you always want to see the best players play, right? But can't people play whoever they want? I mean, I get the idea. That it's kind of an insult to the players. We can hear you.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of an insult.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead, Vern. I want to hear what you had to say.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan paid $180 million for his ownership control of the Charlotte Hornets. When he sells his shares, he stands to earn $1.3 billion.
Wow.
From his shares.
For a losing team, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Good investment.
Yeah.
Look at the Warriors here in the Bay Area.
Yeah, for sure.
The Lake Up Goober Group bought the Warriors for just under $500 million, and now it's worth over $3 billion.
Now, how long ago did Michael Jordan get his interest in the? It's 20 years, probably, right?
Let's see here.
Yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah, I'd have to figure that out.
2010.
2010.
2010. Wow, that's not a bad investment.
That actually is a pretty darn good investment. Yeah, no, that's very.
Oh
good.
My goodness.
Yeah, he's a smart cookie. We were just talking also about the NBA investigating the Mavericks for sitting out the players. That's kind of, if I'm a second stringer, let's say, I'm going to be kind of upset that, listen, I'm in the NBA. Maybe I'm not as good as X, but it's like, don't insult me that way,
Yeah, but
I wouldn't complain too much if it was a bench player on the Dallas Mavericks about what happened, because you make that kind of noise, they'd be like, "Hey, son, you see that? You see that bus? You can get on that, and you can play for the G League team."
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I don't mean the players saying that to like a coach or something. I mean talking to, let's say, the media and going, "Listen, I'm not in the NBA because I'm not good. I'm just maybe not as good as
Well, this kind of bothers me, okay? And it bothered a lot of NBA fans because now you're ruining with the spirit of competition. It's why we watch the games, is to watch teams win, right? They sat all their star players because they wanted to get a draft pick. They want to stay in the top 10. If they lost their top 10 draft pick, they would have lost it to another team or something like that. I believe that's how it was working out. And they were one game out of the play-in tournament. They were going to be in the playoffs. And they decided not to get in the play-in tournament because they thought they were going to lose. So now you're telling everybody on the team that you don't think you're going to win. You think the team's not good, and then you're trying to save a draft pick. Yeah, this should definitely be investigated. This sucks. This sucks for fans. This sucks for everybody.
Well, load management is one of the big issues in the NBA, and the NBA has tried to look into it, tweak it. I know that some of the top stars, if you were an all-star worthy player, you were required to play 65% of the schedule.
Oh.
And there's just, there's guys that, there's people like Greg Popovich. He's the first one that famously started sitting his guys. And they've tried to cut down on the back-to-backs, especially for the road trips. They've tried, but still, it's a big issue. Case in point, the Warriors went to Cleveland one time this year. One time. It's the second game of a back-to-back that they played the Boston Celtics. So when they got to Cleveland, all the frontline guys sat. Curry, Green, Thompson, they sat because they just played the night before. And you're trying to keep your guys fresh.
See, that's
get to the finish line, and the Warriors needed every single game of that 82 game schedule to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, see, that's different. That's totally different than just tanking. I mean, that happens in baseball too. You get these teams that get so frustrated because they're about to get into the playoffs, but their rival team is playing a team where they're throwing in all their third stringers, and they get frustrated because it's like, no, play your best players. We want to get into the playoffs.
Well, I think this also bodes ill for a guy like Luka Doncic, who a lot of people were saying is the next great Magic Johnson, and he's compared to LeBron, and he's compared to Jordan, and all this stuff, and really, anyone that has that much of a competitive edge shouldn't be part of a team that intentionally tries to tank, especially that you're only getting 3% of a chance more of getting Wembanyama, which is, not they really ruined their reputation for what? I mean, just a tiny fragment of a percentage chance that they'll get the number 1 overall pick, which
but everybody does it, Russ. I mean, why do the Mavericks get railed and the Knicks don't? The Knicks they tank for years just to get a top pick. Yeah. So
because they already have Kyrie Irving, and they have Luka Doncic on there. They've already had 2 quote unquote phenoms on their team, and this is the result, that you don't even get into the playoffs.
You got to bring John Starks back.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, he played for the Knicks, but the Mavericks, it's an issue. It's a situation. You mentioned those 2 frontline guys. I still have never seen 2 beat 5, but there you go.
Yeah, they have not much to. Mark Cuban has got to put them both on Shark Tank and see.
Yeah, exactly. All right, last thing I have here is Aaron Rodgers. Is he going to the Jets? Is that finalized yet?
Is he walking over there from Green Bay?
Care?
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry, Vern. What was that?
Does anybody care?
Does anybody care? And Russell, what were you saying?
Is he actually walking from Green Bay over to New York? Because that's how long the trade is seeming to take. I mean, everybody else has got their team totally put together, and the Jets are, literally have their fingers in their nose, just saying, are we going to get Aaron Rodgers? We're not going to get Aaron Rodgers. It's ridiculous. I mean, a lot of teams are already starting organized team activities in about another month, and they don't even know who their starting quarterback is going to be.
Oh my goodness, Russ, imagining Aaron Rodgers hitchhike across Green Bay to New York,
totally
just putting his
imagine
thumb up, is not out of the realm of possibility now.
Yeah, I can totally see
really
that.
funny.
And if you get some bad guys, they'll run them. They'll go. You'll hear boom, 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 boom. All right, you guys ready for our last trivia question here? All right, we're talking golf, and this one is actually a multiple choice. Which of the following clubs, golf clubs we're talking, has the highest degree of loft? A driver, a putter, a sand wedge, or a 7-iron? Okay, that's you have 4 choices there. Which of the following clubs has the highest degree of loft? A driver, a putter, a sand wedge, or a 7-iron? All right, stay with us. Sports Econ 101 will be back with some great closing comments and some funny thoughts for the day.
Oh.
Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with FP Santangelo Jr., Russell Jackman, and Vern Glenn. Third trivia question. Which of the following clubs, golf clubs we're talking about here, has the highest degree of loft? A driver, a putter, a sand wedge, or a 7-iron? The highest.
I'll say the wedge.
I'm gonna go sand wedge too. I mean, if you're talking about loft, just straight degrees, like popping up in the air, flop shots, what have you. When you're working on your short game, it doesn't get any higher. They're like 58, 60 degree.
And you're all correct. That's right. It is a sand wedge. Yeah, because we were talking about highest degree of loft, not who could hit the furthest club. Okay, are you guys ready for our thoughts for the day?
Go.
So my wife accused me of stealing her thesaurus. Not only was I shocked, I was appalled, aghast, and dismayed. And I like that one. And I wouldn't worry about your TV or your smartphone spying on you. It's the vacuum cleaner I would worry about because it's been gathering dirt on you for years.
That's a good one.
You know what? Here's the sad part. FP, you're going to miss all of these great thoughts of the day.
I know. You're just going to have to text them to me. They're not going to have the same pop, though. They're not going to have the same pop.
Yeah,
that's true. That's right. Actually, next week is going to be your last week because I'm going to be out the 24th to the 26th, so we're going to have to repeat a show. But on that note, tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and asking more sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week.
Good night,
Adios.
So long.